Hello guys, welcome to Study IQ. I'm Safir, and in this session, we are going to continue our discussion on the concept of elasticity. So we were talking about elasticity of demand. And I've told you if we are simply talking about elasticity of demand, we are actually talking about price elasticity. So there are two types we will have to discuss: price elasticity and then income elasticity. So it's all about when the price change, to what extent demand is responsive. That is what price elasticity of demand. In the same way, when the income change, to what extent the quantity demanded will change. That is what income elasticity of demand. So as I've told you, when it comes to price elasticity of demand, you just need to tell elasticity of demand. So it is implied that it is price. You don't want to specifically mention. When it comes to income elasticity, we need to separately mention that. So guys, I'll come back to income elasticity of demand. So if you observe in the previous session, we discussed about price elasticity, and we have seen it is nothing but percentage change in quantity demanded to percentage change in price. That is what elasticity. And we have seen different situations where E greater than 1, E less than 1, right? And then E equal to 1, E equal to 0, and E equal to infinity. So these are different situations that we have gone through. And I've explained each of these with the graph also. So E greater than 1, that is elastic. E less than 1, that is inelastic. And I've told you the way to understand it, all based on the choice which is available. If you have choice available, that is elastic. If you don't have choice, that is inelastic. So if you don't have choice, there won't be much change in the demand, even if there is a change in price, right? So these are necessary items, choice, or you can take it as necessary. Inelastic, necessary items are inelastic. So the curve will be steeper. And if it is elastic, curve will be flatter. So I've told you how to draw the demand curve also. And E equal to 1, that is unit elasticity. Percentage change in price and percentage change in quantity demanded will be same. E equal to 0, that is perfectly inelastic. E equal to infinity, perfectly inelastic. These are three theoretical concepts. Practically, if you see, the first two will come. Okay. So now why I've just gave you a quick revision of that is because I want to discuss why the agricultural prices are so volatile based on this concept of elasticity and inelasticity. So if you look into the agricultural commodities, are they elastic or inelastic? We can discuss that both from demand side as well as from supply side. So let me write it here. Prices of agriculture commodities. I want to answer you why these are volatile. I'm not writing it completely. Why the prices of agricultural commodities are volatile. That means there is a sharp change, which you will see all of a sudden. Today, onion may be 20 rupees. After 3 days, it may be 100 rupees. So these are so volatile. Why? Because if you look from demand side, are they elastic or inelastic? It is inelastic. Why? Because these are necessary items, food items, the vegetables, these are necessary items. So demand side, if you look into, these are inelastic. So the curve, when you draw, it has to be steeper. When we draw the demand curve, it has to be steeper, downward sloping, steeper curve. Now, if you look from the supply side, guys, these are agricultural commodities and these are perishable items. So the farmers don't have much flexibility. Now, if you look from demand side, we have to look from individuals' perspective. When you look from supply side, you have to look from firms' perspective normally. But here, agricultural commodities, who's supplying? The farmers. So we have to look from the farmer's perspective. So for them, these are perishable goods and they can't store it, right? And we don't have that adequate storage, cold storage, or such kind of hoarding facilities or anything with the Indian farmers. We can also compare it with the US farmers. For them, it may be elastic. They can hoard it, they can store it. There will be cold storage and all facilities. So supply of a US farmer, if you take from their side, it will be elastic. So there won't be much price variations. It won't be so volatile. There will be a stability in the price when it comes to US market and all. The reason is there, at least the supply is elastic. Okay. Here, the supply is inelastic because it is perishable and you have to sell at any cost at any point of time. You cannot keep on hoarding it. Okay, so supply side also, it is inelastic. So supply side also, it is inelastic means if I'm drawing a equilibrium situation, I have to draw a demand curve which is downward sloping, a steeper one, and I have to draw an upward sloping supply curve which is also a steeper one because both are inelastic. So let me show you. How can I draw it? And then I'll explain it, why and how the price change drastically, even if there is a small change in the supply. So let me go for quantity on the x-axis and price on the y-axis. Guys, I want a steeper curve. If you're drawing along with me, you can make it very steeper so that it will be more clear to you. The price change will be more clear to you. Because when I am drawing with this pen, it may not be that good, okay? So I don't want completely vertical. It is going like that, okay? I want a steeper curve. This is my demand curve. Even this is also not fitting into. So like this, even this also is not that. I'm not getting that perfect. Okay, this one is okay for me. Okay, so I got a steeper curve and this is the demand curve. So I'll mark it as D. And then I need a steeper curve again, upward sloping. That is your supply. So both, in fact, I've made steeper. Normal means it will be something like this. Okay, flatter means it will be something like this. So here I'm doing a steeper one, but I didn't get that exact steep one that I am expecting. But anyway, this is fine for me. So let me find the equilibrium price. So this is the equilibrium point, and you can see P1 is the equilibrium price. And let me drop it to the x-axis. Here you will get Q as the equilibrium quantity. Now imagine this situation that the supply is increased. So when you see there is an increase in supply, what will happen with the supply curve? It will shift rightward. So to avoid the confusion, I've told you, increase in demand, just shift the demand curve rightward. Increase in supply also, shift it to rightward rather than upward, downward. That will make you confused. So increase, you always try to go for rightward. Decrease, you always try to go for leftward. So here I'm going to increase the supply. Suppose the supply is more. Okay. So what will happen? I increase the supply curve rightward like this. So let me draw with the red color. So it is shifted to rightward. Now I'll find the new equilibrium. So you can find it somewhere here. Now, can you see the price here? P1 to P2. There is a reduction in, why the reduction in price? Because you can see supply increased. When supply increased, price decreased. Not just decreased, it decreased sharply. There is a huge variation, right? Can you see here? There is a small change in the supply. If I would have drawn it steeper, it would have been much more reflected very clearly. But you can see a huge change in the price. A small variation in the supply led to huge price change. So why it is actually happening? That is why it is volatile, because demand and supply are inelastic. Now guys, imagine, suppose the demand is elastic. Suppose the demand is elastic. Then demand curve, when you draw, it would have been a kind of normal curve. If it is elastic, it will be like a normal or a slightly flatter curve. So let me try to explain with a flatter curve also here. So if you go for a flatter curve, something like this, can you see this is the equilibrium position, right? So the equilibrium is this one. Now, can you find that? This is where the point is meeting. So what is the price? So there is only a small reduction in price. That means if demand was elastic, the price change would not have been this much. Here, since demand as well as supply both are inelastic, the price change faster. And why agricultural commodities are so volatile? Because from supply side as well as demand side, it is inelastic. So both are inelastic. Why supply side inelastic? It is perishable. Why demand side inelastic? It is necessity. It is not out of choice. Okay, so that is that. If it would have been elastic, this would have been the situation. The change would have been something like this, a small change. But since it is inelastic, the price change is this much bigger based on the small change in supply. So I hope you understood. Now, if you draw the same, suppose supply reduced, you can shift that leftward, and then what will happen? Supply reduced small, this much. What will happen with the price? Price increase this much. This much price will increase. So price increase sharply, drastically. So in the first case, who will suffer? The consumers will suffer. No, in the first case, supply increase. That is a bumper production. So who will suffer? It is the farmers who's going to suffer. Now with this, I can actually explain the concept of the paradox of poverty of farmers also. But in the second case, if you see supply reduced, now as per what we have discussed before, the price of increase. So obviously farmers have to benefit, but even now farmers won't benefit. If farmers won't benefit when the supply is less, they will always keep the supply less. But here it is the traders who will benefit. The middlemen in between will benefit, because in the market, the reduction and the price variation will come after some point of time only, not at the time of harvest. Okay, I'll come back to that later. I'll explain why farmers are always poor. Whether it is a bumper production, this is a situation they will be poor because the price reduced drastically, they will lose everything. If it is a normal year, then they are already poor. Already, if it is an average year, and if the supply is reduced, still they will not make any benefit because the middleman will take out all the benefit. So this is a paradox of poverty of farmers. If you want, I can discuss that. But I want to tell this concept, why agricultural commodities are so volatile. If you get this one, whether it is in prelims or in mains, the answer is very clear. Both demand and supply are inelastic. If any one of these would have been elastic, like I have shown you here, if demand is elastic, the price change would not have been that much. If supply is elastic, like as I've told you in case of US, if you take, the farmers have options, like they can go for storage facility and everything is there. So US, the farmers, we cannot consider it as perishable. It is perishable, but they have the facility, they have the storage facility and everything. But Indian, that facility is not there. So Indian supply, Indian farmers' supply is inelastic. Their supply is elastic. So at least supply is elastic there. So the price won't change drastically like what will happen in case of India. It won't be that volatile. That means there is a kind of stability there. So at least one, if it is elastic, there will be a stability. Since both are inelastic, small change in one lead to bigger change in the other. Same way, if small change in demand won't change here. Demand is always almost the same when it comes to agricultural commodities. It is inelastic. There is not much change is going to happen. I've discussed this concept before. All right, guys. So let me look into the next one. And after that, I'll also talk about income elasticity, where I can discuss the concept of Giffen goods and Veblen goods, etc. Okay, some concept which you might not be aware of, or some of you have confusion. Okay, so paradox of poverty of farmers, guys. These are main questions which you can expect. And then if you get these questions, you should be explaining with this concept. I'll also discuss the logic of MSP. So here, I'm not randomly talking about some facts. And I don't want to do that. In fact, that you can read from Ramesh Singh. Here, if you observe my lectures, I'm talking only about the concepts. And I'm trying to make sure that you have understood the concept. Now, you are very clear why agricultural commodities are volatile. With examples I've shown. Now I can explain why farmers are always poor. The paradox of poverty. Even in bumper production, even in normal year, even in low production, they are poor. Right? And then I can also explain the logic of MSP, why government is giving MSP. Mathematical explanation I can give you. Then you will never forget it. Okay, so paradox of poverty of farmers. As I've told you, paradox of poverty means in the previous scenario, if supply is high, that means the bumper production, what will happen? Price drastically come down, so they suffer. If the price is normal, they are already poor. If the supply is less, then the price go up. But by the time price go up, the farmers would have already sold to the middleman. So the middleman will reap all the benefit. So they won't get any advantage. So this is the actual situation. So I'll explain it with a graph. Anyway, we can go with the same graph which we have drawn before. I want a steeper curve. Guys, you can draw it properly. I will not be able to do that with this pen. I repeat it because I can see some of the comments like I'm not able to draw, I'm not able to write. My intention is not to do all those things. Okay, I know what is it. So there is no point in, for you, I'm just telling this. Okay, so let me go for this equilibrium. Let's say let's talk about a potato farmer. Okay, so he made, let's say, 10,000 kilogram of potato and 10 rupee was the price. Okay, so what happened is supply increased drastically, or supply increased, bumper production situation. So how will I draw that? S, this is supply, this is demand. Supply changed to S1. So if it would have been so steep, you will be able to make it very clear. Now it will be like this. So 10 rupee from it came down to 2 rupee. So see, supply change won't be that much, but price change is so huge. Make it so steep so that things will be more visible to you. Here, it may not be, that gap may not be visible. Supply is this much, but price will be this much. So let's say, I'll say this will be like 13,000. So 10,000 to 13,000, 30% increase is there, but 10 to 2 rupee of the price have come down. Now let's go for a normal calculation here, guys. If you see, if you go for a normal calculation, what is the revenue collected in the first situation? 1 lakh, 10 rupee into 10,000 kilogram, 1 lakh. Out of that, let's say 60K is the expense. And then what he will get, 40K is the profit, normal profit in normal situation. Now, what happened when the supply increased? 13,000 is what he got, but 2 rupee. So what he's getting, 26K. What is his investment? 60K. Now he's in loss of 34K. So this is a problem. If the production is normal, he's getting a normal profit. That will not be enough for him to survive. Actually, that's the reason why farmers suicide, this money lenders and all these functions and all these issues are there. So why they commit suicide? Otherwise, if there is a bumper production, they will be in loss. If there is very less production, price will increase. Same way, the price may go from 10 to 20. It will double or triple. Like onion from 20 to 100, it will go. But by the time it reaches 100, farmers would have sold it at the time of harvesting itself, or people are waiting at the farm gate itself, the farm gate sale. We will discuss the concept when I discuss about APMC and everything later in the chapter on agriculture. This farm gate sale is it should not be practiced. Actually, it is banned, but still you have borrowed money, there is loan, so people are waiting there for harvesting. By the time you harvest it, it will be taken away. So farmers is not going to get any advantage, because the price change will be reflected in the market after some point of time when they realize that there is a shortage. The demand supply mismatch should come, right? So by that time, farmers have already sold. Now who get the benefit? Those people who are hoarding it, right? So that is the traders or the speculators or the middleman. They will get the benefit out of it. So this is the reason why the farmers are always in poverty, because they cannot store it. As I've told you, this is perishable. Timing is very important, right? So you will not be able to hold it. Now what the government will do in this situation, guys, if you see the first situation, production is high, bumper production like this, price have come down. Who suffer? Farmers suffer with heavy loss. Second situation, there is low production. So next year, farmers decided that they are not going to produce. So low production, price went high. Farmers also not getting any advantage. Traders will get the advantage, but the consumer will suffer drastically. Onion price from 20 to 100, who will suffer? The consumer will suffer. Then government have to take a lot of other measures also. Prohibit hoarding and then import onion, right? So much ban the export. So much of efforts have to take. At the same time, consumer will suffer. You have to pay 5 times, 6 times the price. So first case, farmers suffer. Second case, consumer will suffer. To bring a balance so that farmers will always go for cultivation, you need to ensure that whatever be the case, in case of bumper production also, you will get a minimum amount. So government will tell that we will procure unlimited quantity of a commodity at a fixed price. Let's say 5 rupees. So government will offer 5 rupees at the time of beginning itself. At the time of sowing itself, government will offer that. We will go for, but it is not for all commodities. Most important, the essential commodities, around 24 items government is giving MSP. Okay, so not for perishable items like tomato, those kinds of things, you won't get that. But we will have to discuss that in the chapter on agriculture, what all items will be coming under MSP, what is fair price and everything we will have to discuss later. But here, I hope this is very clear to all of you. So when the government is telling this 5 rupee, now the farmer is having a certainty that at least this you will get. Below that, it won't go. If it goes below that, you can sell to the government. So market price will be above MSP. So farmers won't suffer. So that there will be production and there will be supply. So the consumer also won't suffer. So that is actually a win-win situation. So I hope you understood the logic for MSP also. Now let me quickly discuss about income elasticity of demand. So guys, price elasticity of demand I've discussed. There, you don't want to mention price separately. Here I need to mention. So it is same as that of quantity demanded at the top. Below denominator, it was price. Here it is going to be income. So here EY I use. There just E is enough. Y stands for income. So percentage change in quantity demanded to percentage change in the not price, here your income. So here, to what extent your quantity demanded will change based on the change in your income. Your income is increasing. What will happen with the demand? It will increase. Okay, like that. So now there will be different situations. First case, as we discussed, EY, income elasticity will be greater than 1. So this is elastic demand. Same what we have discussed over there. Let me go a bit faster because the same thing only, but I have to also discuss about the concept of Giffen good and Veblen good. So let me go faster. Okay. So this is elastic demand. What is the situation? Quantity demanded, change in quantity demanded will be more than change in income. So which items? Luxury items. Luxury items are always elastic because when your income increase, you will buy, right? The demand will increase. Otherwise, whether your income increased or not, if it is necessity, you have to buy. So that is inelastic. So what is that situation? Second case, EY less than 1, income inelastic demand. Guys, remember, there I just need to tell elastic demand, inelastic demand. Here I need to tell income elastic, income inelastic, so that it will be made very clear. Okay. Now the third situation is EY equal to 0. This is perfectly income inelastic demand. Perfectly income inelastic demand. And then EY equal to 1. This is unitary income elastic demand. And then I have changed my camera from top to this webcam. That's why my eye contact is getting disturbed now. I was looking at that camera. Now I'm looking into this webcam. So it's getting slightly difficult now. So the first situation was EY greater than 1, income elastic demand. Then EY less than 1, income inelastic demand. These two are practical case. Then EY equal to 0, perfectly income inelastic demand. EY equal to 1, unitary elastic demand. Then EY less than 0. So here it is negative. Which situation it will come? Income, here your income increase, but quantity demanded decrease. Guys, this is opposite, right? We have discussed about law of demand. Then I have discussed about determinants of demand. Income is one of the determinant. When income increase, demand will increase. But now what I'm saying is income increase, demand will decrease. So this is a special case. This is in case of inferior goods. So when you are poor, you used to consume some inferior, like jowar, you consume. But when your income increased, you shift from jowar to rice. So inferior good, you stop consuming and then you move towards rice. Or you normal food consumption, now you're shifting to more protein foods like that. Or different other examples also I can give you. So in case of inferior good, this will happen. Okay, so that is what this negative situation comes. So in case of inferior goods, what is inferior good? Demand of the good, that particular good will decrease when income increase. So this situation, this is what we have discussed. What about normal goods? Normal good, income increase, quantity demanded increase. So this is the normal situation in case of normal goods. This is in case of inferior goods. In case of inferior goods, when the income increase, you stop consuming that, you shift to something better. Now there is another concept of Giffen goods. What is Giffen goods? It is actually given by Robert Giffen. So this is part of inferior good. So if you see, this is inferior good. As I've told you, inferior good have do something with income and price. So this Giffen good is coming within inferior good. Here, what will happen is if the price increase, demand increase. Price increase, demand increase. So Giffen good is a part of inferior good whose demand increase when the price increase. So if you see, demand curve of this will be looking upward. Demand curve of Giffen goods will always look upward because demand actually increase when the price increase. Normally, demand curve look downward. For Giffen goods, demand curve look upward because when the price increase, quantity demanded increase. This is an unusual relation, right? So guys, inferior good I have explained with income. Giffen good I have explained with price, but Giffen good is part of the inferior good. Now, if this need to happen, A lot of other things need to be there. That person is need to be the person is should be very poor and he don't have any choice. That situation is when the demand of one item increase, the other will when the price increase, like I'll give you an example. Let's say jowar and wheat. Okay, so you're consuming. You need to meet your family having 5, 6, 7 members, and you need 20 kg intake. Your family 20 kg is must. Okay, so let's say 10 kg you consume this, 10 kg you consume this, and you already have your income is you are spending only 200, and this is what you can spend the maximum. This is fixed. This expenditure is fixed at constant. And let's say the price of this is 6 kg, 6 per kg, and let's say 14 per kg. So this is going to be 60, and this is going to be 140. So together you will be paying 200. Now, what is inferior good here? Jowar. The jowar price increased from 6 to 7. Remember, what I'm saying is inferior good, the price increased 6 to 7. Now this will become 70. So this will become 210. Will he be able to meet the 20 kg demand now? No. What he have to do to make it exactly into 200 rupee, he have to reduce from wheat, he have to consume more from jowar. So this he will have to increase to 11, and this he will have to reduce, make it to 9. That's the situation where he can maintain that 20 kg, which is required for his family, with 200 rupee, because he can't spend more than that. That is why I've told you there are certain conditions which need to be satisfied or looked upon in the situation. I hope this is very clear. And then what is Veblen good, which is given by T. Veblen, and these are goods associated with social prestige, like expensive, rare articles, diamonds, designer aeroplanes, etc. So demand will increase when the price increase. So if you see Giffen good and Veblen good, both demand will increase when price increase. Both are showing opposite relation. But Veblen good for social prestige, expensive items. Giffen good from inferior good, a very poor person, due to some situations, he have to do that. I hope that example is very clear. Now, guys, I have some issue with my camera. The usual camera that I'm using is got switched off. I don't know whether the eye contact was very clear towards the end of the session or not. Anyway, if you have watched till now, means I hope you like the video. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Comment below if you have any doubt, and also subscribe to the channel. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys, and see you in the next session.